The Columbus Blue Jackets have overcome a lot of adversity to get off to a surprisingly good start, but there are some issues in Columbus. Jay Forster of Locked On Blue Jackets is here to talk about the keys to the surprising start and what it'll take to sustain it. All that and more on today's Locked On NHL podcast.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Gil Martin here, and welcome everybody to the Monday edition of the Locked On NHL podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On NHL your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you get new episodes as soon as they drop. Today's episode is brought to you by Indeed. Still searching for a great candidate for your company? Don't search, just match with Indeed. It is my pleasure to welcome back to the show the host of Locked On Blue Jackets, Jay Forster. And Jay, it's been an interesting start to the season. I have to start with this. I don't think any team has overcome more adversity in the month of October to start this season than the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Oh, for sure. Like, at the beginning of September, I think there were a lot of people that thought the Blue Jackets wouldn't field a team this year. You know, I saw a lot of people saying they might be worse than the expansion year Washington Capitals, which, for those of you who weren't around, in 1967 or whenever it was, they won 7 games total. So there were a lot of people saying the Blue Jackets might not win 7 games this season. Well, I have good news for the haters. The Blue Jackets have 5 wins on the season already in 11 games. They're currently sitting NHL 500. They've got a record of 5-5-1, and they have battled through so many things. Just all of the things, you know, even without talking about the Gaudreau loss, which was a huge, huge loss in and of itself. Boone Jenner, out long-term. Eric Branson, out long-term. Kent Johnson, out long-term. They just got Dmitry Voronkov back, who had 18 goals as a rookie last season and was a big part of the Blue Jackets' middle six. He just made his season debut on, I think, Friday night. So, you know, there's been a lot of pieces missing on this team, and there are going to continue to be a lot of pieces missing. But they have, I think, decided to, you know, it's like at the start of every Blue Jackets game, Meredith Gaudreau is on the screen at Nationwide, and she says, love the game that John loved. Love the game the way that John loved it, you know? And I think that they've decided to do that, and they're just like channeling their inner Gaudreau, which has been really, really great to see. I think Sean Monahan has been phenomenal for this team, and that is a signing that I thought was fine when it happened. And now I'm looking at this, and I'm like, man, he is a different player. You know, he is leading the team in goals. He is leading the team on the ice. He has been fantastic off the ice. Like, he has really, really changed this team for the better. And it would have been so easy, I think, for this team to, and I believe that this is something we've talked about on this channel as well. Like, it would be so easy, or it would have been so easy for this team to just kind of like get stuck in their grief and their sadness and like struggle every single game. And they haven't been. They've been winning. They've been winning convincingly. I know that they're coming off a rough weekend, but the teams that beat them, the Washington Jets, that's not correct. The Washington Capitals and the Winnipeg Jets, I believe, are like a combined 18-3 on the season so far. So like, this is not. I am okay with them getting run over a little bit. Do I love that they lost 5-0 in the first period to the Capitals? No, but this is kind of an expected thing. I think that there are things they need to do to be better, but as of right now, the Blue Jackets have responded better than maybe anyone has expected. I'm including myself in that. And I chose to be, you know, optimistic about this team, you know, and I still think that my goal for this team at the start of the season was 40 wins. I still think that's very reachable. You know, that is just under 500, and the team is already at. They're playing at 500 hockey right now, and I think that they are still missing some key pieces, you know? So they're gonna get better from here. We hope.
Got to talk about coaching. I mean, this is such a delicate situation. So much, like you said, it would be easy to give up. Talk to me about the leadership the coaching staff has provided and which players have really stepped up to provide leadership.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think the coaching is such a huge thing here. And I thought the Everson hiring was fine. He wasn't my first choice. He wasn't my last choice. You know, I talked a lot to our wonderful friend over at Locked On Wild, Seth Topal, about it. And he basically said, listen, Everson, you're going to get what you're going to get with him. He's someone that relies a little too much on the veterans, but also he makes teams into more than the sum of their parts. And he has done that with the Blue Jackets, you know, and I think people put a lot of weight on coaching in this league. I don't know that the Blue Jackets needed a Jack Adams level coach in the same way that and I'm sure we'll talk about goaltending in a second if I'm reading the little thing on the side here correctly. They don't need Jack Adams coaching. They need an adult who can give them structure, who can give them something to aim for. I think bringing in a brand new coach when the team is in this much kind of turmoil and change, and you know, Don Waddell made even before the Gaudreau loss changed so much about this team. Even before that, he still was like, yeah, there's going to be half a dozen 8 new faces on this team this season probably, and the team looks really different to last year. And I think that's helped. Having a brand new coach who doesn't have any of the baggage of the previous coaches, doesn't know like who was good at what and who played where. Like, I think the biggest example for me, obviously Kent Johnson is injured right now, but he was lights out for the Blue Jackets in the preseason, in the beginning of the season. I think he had 4 points in 3 games or 4 points in 5 games before he went down with an injury. He really responded well to the coaching, and he was playing on the power play. He was playing on the penalty kill, which is something he had never done before. We're seeing Adam Fantilli on the penalty kill, which we hadn't seen before. Like, Everson is basically just going in and being like, oh, this guy looks like he might work on the penalty kill. Let's give it a shot. Which after several years of, I'm not going to say phoning it in, but several years of just kind of doing what is expected of the coaching, to have someone like Everson come in and bring that structure and bring that discipline and like bring something new to the team, I think has really, really helped as well. So like, he's been massive for this team. And I do think, again, if the Blue Jackets manage to sneak into a playoff spot, I think there are going to be Jack Adams votes in Dean Everson's future.
You mentioned the goaltending. We have to talk about it. Elvis is in the building, but there seems to be some trouble elsewhere.
Elvis has always been a streaky goalie. Has been his problem, you know. I think inconsistency has been his biggest thing. Like, on some days, he has all the talent in the world, is the thing. And on some days, he looks it. He was spectacular this week against the Oilers, who are a team that have, you know, if you can shut down Leon Draisaitl in a game, worth it. You know, obviously Connor McDavid didn't play after about 15 seconds of that game, but Elvis, I thought, was spectacular in that game. Follows it up 2 nights later with a shutout against the Islanders. Sorry, Gil.
Yes.
I forgot who they played. But, you know, and again, like, I'm sure you'll agree, Elvis was excellent in that game. And we've seen excellent performances from Daniil Tarasov as well this season. However, we've also seen some poor performances from both goalies this season, you know, like, and again, this weekend, yeah, it's tough to say. Well, Elvis didn't match up to Connor Hellebuck, or Eric Comrie was in goal, actually, you know, but the Jets are the Jets. I don't know if the Islanders have played the Jets yet this season.
No, not yet.
And anyone who has paid attention, or if their teams have played the Jets, they are a wagon. They are lighting it up at the minute. Best team in the league, bar none. Washington Capitals, a surprise. Also, quite a good team this season, which I don't think anyone was expecting. So, like, do I think Elvis is the kind of goalie that's going to allow, like, 1 goal on 61 shots, which is what he faced against Edmonton and the Islanders combined? No. Do I also think he's the kind of goalie that's going to allow 6 goals every game? No. He's probably going to be somewhere in the middle, which is fine by me, because, like I said with Dean Everson, the Blue Jackets don't need Vezina-level goaltending. They need league average goaltending. If they can get out of this season with like a team save percentage of, like, let's say a 900 or a 905 even, I am more than okay with that. They don't need to have a goalie that is doing, you know, these kind of 923, 925, like 930 save percentages throughout the whole season. You know, they don't need the goalie to be the MVP every single night. Part of that is because they are on just the most unsustainable shooting heater of all time. Right now, I think they scored, I think, 35 goals on 18 expected goals previous to this weekend's slate of games. So it's regressed a little bit after that, obviously, but like they are exceeding expectations in the offense. The defense is much improved. They're allowing about 8 shots a game fewer than they were allowing last season, which is helping. The goaltending will figure itself out. It's very up and down at the minute, and my assumption is it will probably settle more into the average of what we expect. But I don't think that they need better than average from Elvis or Tarasov right now.
All right. We'll see how that plays out. I know you'll cover it every step of the way. Jay, why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners where they could find the podcast and where they could find you on social media?
Again, I feel like I said this last time, but I don't feel bad like telling people to pay attention to the Blue Jackets this year because they are fun as hell. So you can find me on Twitter at _Jacob Forster, JAKOBFORSTER. You can find the show at LO_Blue Jackets on Twitter. You can find us anywhere you get Locked On NHL, your favorite podcasting app of choice. You can find us over on YouTube. We're getting real close to 1,000 subscribers. So if you want to help a brother out and get some daily Blue Jackets news in your life as well, that is where you can find us.
All right, Jay, thanks so much.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. Hockey fans, check out the latest odds for your favorite hockey team. Use your knowledge of the game to get great bets on FanDuel. Again, visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League.